We begin with an unsettling reminder of the great power that some people have over others as time stops for a moment and a woman rewrites her morning. And instead of journaling and reading the tarot cards as she does most days, instead, she travels into the woods on a whim, bringing with her her entire family and security guards at a distance. She visits the grave of a departed family member who had a car accident on this very road not 2 years ago. The path that she takes just so happens to align with your path through space-time. But this is not a coincidence. And Blanchefleur looks up at you all with appraising eyes. She can see the next. She can see the step before. But to you, she is a mystery. She walks with Parallax through the woods away from your two companions, one of whom is invisible. And as she walks through the woods, you find yourself walking on a small trod. Looks like people have walked this path before, though you hadn't noticed it from the road. Parallax, as you walk with your new hostess, are you doing anything?
No, I think I'm just, walking with her. I'm very concerned, I guess, because my two companions did not join me, but she's also a very powerful time mage. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm digging this, but at the same time, on edge, but just going to go with the flow. Just following her through this little side trail to this manor of hers, I guess.
It's not a little manor, but
No.
it is where you are headed.
Yep.
The artwork on the extensive lawn becomes apparent as you approach. There are columns and 17th and 18th century art. The old brick mansion stands a monolith compared to the trees around this, but yet it wasn't noticeable from where you were in the woods, as if it parts through the mist and appears. It's kind of a surreal feeling that you get. When you're walking with her, it's like a dream. And you remember a dream that you had had. Was that a week ago? Last night? You're running on earth that feels like a treadmill. It's a Mobius strip twisting. And as you look towards the center of that twist, you can see a woman's eye, blue, staring into you. You feel as though there is something supernal happening here. It's like a spell is being woven through your existence. You don't see her casting it now, but you can feel its effects.
Well then, am I familiar what the hell is happening right now, or is it more like I know something's happening, but that's like it?
You've been around magic like this before, and you can tell that it's some sort of spell effect, you think. But it also feels kind of like a dream. And it's like a daydream, but it's a flashback to a dream that you feel like you've had maybe multiple times.
So sort of like deja vu to a degree,
It's
or
very much like deja
yeah,
vu.
okay. But I can't exactly pinpoint it just right. It's just like, ooh,
No, it's
yeah,
just like when she turns back and she looks at you, you can tell that the eye is hers. That
yeah,
there's something connecting a dream that you've been having with this woman.
okay. Do I have my time tied up? If not, I'll throw it up right now.
Yeah, why don't you roll a time plus gnosis check?
One success.
With one success, you find that there's something. It's still the same timeline in this area, but it's like it shimmers. The whole area seems to have a sheen between you and it. And you can tell it's a sheen of time somehow. It feels like the ground that you are walking on, similar to what you did to the groundskeeper, is kind of repeating as you get closer to this thing. It gives you that same feeling that you had in the dream of running on a Mobius strip.
Hmm.
But then you're there. You've reached the doors, and she's opening them for you. Inside, there's a grand room with massive stairwells, some sort of ballroom, it looks like. The walls are covered with oil paintings and classical artwork. There's also several tapestries.
All right, I keep walking up, and I'll mention the so Blanche Fleur. How do you pronounce that? Her name?
Blanchefleur?
Yeah, I'm bad with the French, but I'll try to imitate that name. And like, I love the manner that or you love your estate. How is it? Perhaps been in your family for how many generations now?
6, at least, she says.
At least.
Um,
Oh.
History is something that we seek to preserve here, but so much has been lost to us.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you've lost some of your history, but I mean, it seems you've done a remarkable job at keeping what you do know about your family's estate.
History is important, wouldn't you agree?
Certainly.
And
Yeah.
as much as we can keep, we do.
Yeah.
Gestures for you to go up the stairs with her.
Yeah. Let's go.
She even extends an arm for you to take.
And I'll do the whole arm lock.
She smiles. And for just a minute, you have like a vivid flash of that dream, and you see her. There's a shocked expression on her face, and there's a blade, kind of like a guillotine, that slides down and severs her head. Cutting back to the foggy road, the two of you, Mona and Ermengarde, are walking down a dirt path. The fog has rolled in on this area, but left a berth around the two of you. On the edge, there's a dark and muscular figure, a man with dark hair and a black goatee, stalks on the edge of the wood line near you. You've been directed to walk down this road. For how far it goes until the edge of the property, you're not sure, but you have been told that you would be seen to the edge, safe.
Is that stalker guy accompanying us?
It looks like, yeah, he's following you. He's walking right alongside.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure that I'm between Ermengarde and this man.
Ermengarde
And
is invisible.
yes. But just in case. And then I want to just talk into the air as if I'm talking to myself.
Mhm.
Ah, yes. I remember the good old days back when I first awakened. Lots of things to learn, lots of things I didn't know, but I learned soon enough. um, is this guy like reacting or is he just ignoring me?
It's hard to tell because his face is kind of cloaked in shadow. With your prime sight on, you can tell that he's got some sort of magic active on him. And if you wanted, you could examine it more closely.
Ooh. Yeah, I love to know how things work. I want to know what spell he has up.
Yeah, why don't you give me a prime plus gnosis as you examine his aura, but also subtract 2 from it for
Okay.
the difficulty it is to read this particular spell.
You said -3?
2.
2. Okay. 1 success.
With 1 success, you can tell that it's some sort of life and possibly life and fate spell. It seems as though there are multiple auras around him, as if there is more than one person who had cast a spell on him. You think it could be multiple spells flickering through his pattern. You can see him as a almost mechanical person, and you can see that some of the aspects of him, some of his tendons, some of his muscles are rippling with magical energy. It's focused around his head, and there's a place in the center of his head, kind of like a third eye, from which it seems to just be like. With your prime sight up, you can also tell that the mists around you are kind of like a faded mist. There's something magical about them, and you see a figure flitting through the woods from tree to tree.
Okay. I am fascinated. One of my obsessions is figuring out how things work. And I see like this mechanical thing going around his head. I'm just gonna straight up ask him. Tell me, I'm not a life mage. Tell me, like, what am I looking at here?
He steps towards you, and you can see that there's something going on with his eyes. They're bright blue. They look almost like wolves' eyes, and his skin is rippling with that energy coming off of his third eye. And he says, "You should keep walking, stranger."
Fine. Anyway, as I was saying, I remember when I first awakened, I learned magic existed. Pretty wild. Wait, this guy's been awake. He must be. He's got spells all over himself. And magic can be conjured through patterns and language. How long ago did you awaken? I turned to my weird third eye friend.
He growls something kind of like low in his breath, and he says, "I have nothing to say to invaders like you."
Whoa. I am not an invader. I washed up on the beach and you have been nothing but hospitable, but I'm leaving.
Figure, the one that had been moving through the trees, emerges from the fog. It's a woman with curly blonde hair. She's got a wide set nose and large, inquisitive eyes. And she says, "I'm so sorry. My family's just a little uncomfortable that you could show up on our land at all."
Oh, well, hi. Yes, thanks for apologizing. I do feel better. What's your name?
She looks at the man. It's like they're having a conversation with their eyes. And she says, "My name's Rain. And I, yeah, like the rain. But I don't know if we're supposed to tell you our names," she says with like a look of confusion.
Well, I can say, and this is very important for newly awakened people. Oh my God. That you have a true name. It's the one you were born with. Now, you don't want to say that name to anyone. You have a special mage name, like me. I'm Mona.
Yeah, no, Rain's not my real name or my true name or whatever. That's what you can call me. And your name's Mona.
That's right. We're learning things. I'm like trying so hard.
Have a blog
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do.
on Witchcraft?
Yes.
Oh. Oh. You're not here to hurt us, are you?
No. The fact that we arrived on your land was totally random, not in my control, and I didn't even know you existed before I met your family member on the road. So I'm not here for it with any malice.
Do you want to roll a social check to convince them?
Yes.
Maybe like your presence plus persuasion.
Can I use my expression blog?
I would say that your blog specialty doesn't necessarily apply here, but yeah, why don't you roll your expression plus your presence?
Okay. Three successes and a 0. I re-roll those, right?
That's right.
3 successes.
There's like a relief moment in the tension in this conversation. And Rain steps forward to you and says, "That's so good to hear. You wouldn't be able to lie here anyway. Come on, let's go."
Yeah, thanks. You're so much better at accompanying us to the estate lines. A lot more welcoming. I appreciate it, Rain.
"Yeah, don't mind him," she says, looking back at the man. He's really here to help protect you more than anything. This place can be very dangerous. And let's cut back to Parallax for a second. In the heart of the estate, there is a small tea room. A number of tables and bookshelves are in this room. It's like a study almost. There's a little reading nook. There are several doors that lead out into the rest of the mansion. And the hostess, who you are with, Blanchefleur, pulls out a chair personally from a large empty wooden table. With your time sight on, as you step into this room, though, you see that there's a thin layer of sand everywhere around in here. And would you roll your time plus gnosis?
Ooh, 3 successes.
With 3 successes, you see that many of the objects in this room have been pulled from other timelines. Some of them, you believe, have been destroyed in this timeline, but then pulled back into existence again. There's also a moment as you enter that you get chills, and you see, but don't see, something silver and shimmering kind of walk backwards into this old antique grandfather clock in the room with you. It feels unreal, and there's the sound in your mind like a record being played backwards.
Okay. So before I saw all this stuff, Blanche was gesturing to sit down for me to sit down in that chair she pulled out, or I'm gonna take a seat. It in said chair, and I'm gonna be like, if I may be so bold, I'm curious as a powerful time mage. I presume you have some sort of spell on your estate. I'm very curious as to what kind of protection spell you have on your home here.
I have many skills, she says, and we are protected in many ways. Our family works together as a cabal, and you will find that it is not just time which we are protected through, and we have much to protect here, halls of knowledge and history. But one way that we are protected is through an aversion spell. No one should be able to see our land at all, which is why I am so curious as to how you arrived here. And she does a little clap on her hand, and from the corner of this room, you're not sure if they were there before. You see a servant emerge, a woman with graying hair, and she has a little tea tray with piping hot tea already.
Oh, lovely. I do a little quick gander at the spell. I mean, aside from Ermengarde's response or reaction to her, I haven't really sensed any ill intent from her. So I guess I'll
Do you want to roll a wits insight check?
one success.
With one success, you feel that she is being very friendly. You don't feel threatened by her, but you can tell that there's like an act that she puts up for people, and she's putting it up for you now. She's being a hostess. That's what she's doing.
Okay, I mean, I'll take a sip from the tea, but yeah, I'll ask. So
Before you take a sip from the tea, though, the tea isn't yet poured, and a cup is set down before you.
Okay.
When the teapot turns over, the liquid that comes out of it shimmers in your eyes. It's almost like it's Technicolor, every hue at once and none at all. The liquid streams down in a helix that goes into the cup and then reverses and then goes back down into the cup and then lands there with a satisfying noise. This tea's magic, yo.
Yeah, I like magic. I'll drink it. Yeah.
Okay. You drink the tea, and actually, it is so potent that you gain a point of mana just from drinking it, along with maybe other effects.
Maybe other effects. All right. Well, I'm just cool about getting my mana back because I have almost none now. So yeah. Ask her. So you mentioned that you have an aversion spell on your estate. I imagine such a powerful spell would. I mean, of course, paradox at some point or another. How could you have possibly pulled that off?
In order for spells to be worn away by sleeper wills, they need to be encountered by those who are unawakened. And thanks to property laws, very few people who threaten to do that can come anywhere near our lands. You know that it is possible to cast a spell that lasts a very long time. You just need to reach really far into your will. It's typically a very dangerous thing to do, though. But it could have happened a long time ago and been stretched through the eons.
Wow. Well, surely, I mean, you must have done something besides hoping, property laws would keep, sleepers from entering this area.
Of course, we have many forms of security, and the aversion spell would be one of the last that you would walk through. The woods around here were already quite dangerous, and we've simply used what we found here. Cutting back to the woods, there's a chill wind, and in that wind, Ermengarde, and just Ermengarde, you hear whispers. It's subtle, but there's definitely voices in the wind here.
I asked the skull in my arms, do you hear those too?
Byron, who is in your skull that you are kind of like holding here, you sense his voice. It's louder, but it's kind of like on the same frequency in your brain. And his voice says, I sense the unquiet dead here.
Do you know who?
I cannot see. It is like being in a void and calling up from the bottom of a well.
Are they good dead like you?
There's a pause.
You are good, right?
Then the skull says, there is no one like me.
Thanks, Byron. Okay. And I want to make to tuck Byron away somewhere in my gown so I can have a hand again.
Like any reputable debutante ball gown, there are no pockets. So you've got a lot of material here, but you actually have no pockets. What'd you say?
I said very gossamer.
Yes, very gossamer. It's true. So where are you going to put this skull?
I am going to try to sort of tie up some of the layers so I can maybe create a pocket in my gown so I can kind of have a little, I don't know, kangaroo Byron that I can carry safely with me.
Yeah, definitely possible. Would you give me a either wits or dexterity plus craft check?
And I have craft checked off. What does that mean?
So that actually means that you can use it to create spells. Rote skills are the kind of things that you can use as a yantra, which is like a focus for your magic.
I want to create a pocket creating spell. That'd be phenomenal.
With 3 successes, yeah, you created a sizable place that you could put this skull, and it looks like he's not going to fall out through this. It's a big pocket that you could also put a number of other objects in if you'd like.
Major dress improvement. And then I want to lean really close up to Mona's ear and say really softly, I thought we weren't supposed to tell people we were mages.
So, Rain.
Yeah, she says. Sometimes you are like having a conversation with her and then seem to be having a break in that conversation.
Yeah, I love to just to ramble on. Uh, so, you know, I noticed that that gardener was a sleeper, correct?
Um, you didn't notice if he was a sleeper or awakened or not, but he didn't have any like awakened magic on him.
Okay. I'm gonna say, I noticed. I'm just gonna lie. I noticed your gardener was a sleeper. How do you live on such a magical plane without exposing your magical self to the muggles?
Oh, well, he's not really a sleeper. He's what you call a sleepwalker. There's someone who they walk in between the worlds of the awakened and the asleep. Sometimes they actually awaken themselves. There are whole bloodlines called Proximi, and I don't really know what the Latin is, but they're from Europe, and my family brings them over here to work for us.
I'm pretending to be very fascinated, but really I'm just glad that she's explaining this to Ermengarde. Fascinating.
Sometimes Proximi awaken, and that's really good because when you're awakened, then you can be inducted into our society.
That's right. So when your sleepwalkers awaken that you've hired, you induct them into your own house?
Yeah, I mean, Haradi and I, and she looks back at the man, clearly who this is Haradi,
Yeah.
and she like looks down embarrassed and says, "Yeah, we bring them into the family."
Well, how do you find them?
We've got a lot of books on the matter, and magic and bloodlines has been something that my family studied for generations. You know,
So,
sometimes you can have two awakened parents, and then the child doesn't even awaken. They can't even see the truth. Maybe it's because they're so close to us, you know?
true. I was from a family of two sleepers.
Do you have any kids?
No.
Yeah, you are not that old. You're
No,
like
hold on. I'm looking at my
25,
age. Yeah, I'm like,
but you're
I'm 19 years old. Well, I was
no.
4 years ago. So
Yeah, so
by
you're,
now I'm like 20, I'm like 24, 25-ish.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
I'm going to look at her and be like, no, I'm 25.
oh, she says, 25 already.
Um, yes. Well, outside of your estate, 25 is young.
Well, it's like my uncle always says, it can be a lifetime or just a few years when you've awakened. It's very dangerous.
Yes, it is. So, are you going to come off your property and join me in the real world?
What? She's like taken aback. This is the real world. We're just protected here.
Yeah, but are you allowed to leave, Rain?
I'm allowed to leave if I wanted to.
Yeah, but are
I'm
you being babysat when you leave?
no, I can go anywhere I want to, but it's dangerous out there. And my family and you probably are in more danger. If you're awakened, then all sorts of things can see you. Speaking of things, Ermengarde, there's things in the mist. They
Also,
look
have you been learning?
kind of like
Okay, good.
people, translucent people. Um, just on the edges of the woods here. No one else is reacting to them.
I'm gonna lean into Mona's ear again and go, ghosts? and kind of point. Can she see me?
No.
I point anyway.
Okay. Like you don't know. I hear you say ghosts. Okay. And you, like with a question mark at the end. Okay. I don't know much about the Arcana of Death.
I know one ghost and he's nice, I think.
Okay. So,
Yeah, there was a moment where there were like voices coming from whispered around you, and it looks like Rain didn't notice, but the man kind of like flexes a little bit as you're having that conversation. And he
okay.
looks just behind you to where Ermengarde is.
I'm going to like point away from me into the woods somewhere and say, do you guys have ghosts in the woods?
Oh, yeah. Are the ghosts here? Says Rain.
Yeah, I think I heard them whispering.
We should go. Let's go. And she starts moving faster down the road.
Okay, I'm going to move along with her. Are these ghosts dangerous?
Ghosts aren't that dangerous. They can't typically manifest in this world, but they can make you sick, and they're just unpleasant.
Sure are.
I whisper rude into Mona's.
So, I would like them, those ghosts, to stop whispering.
Parallax, you are trying not to be rude at your dinner here?
Yeah, I am having tea with well, this magic tea supposedly.
Yeah,
At this
are
table.
you like slowly drinking it in a meditative way, or are you just like, as soon as you feel the energy, just drinking it as fast as possible?
I'm gonna drink it slowly, politely,
Yeah.
and like pinky out kind of style, Yeah.
You think that your hostess does approve of your manner in which you are drinking the tea.
Excellent.
Thoughtful, and says, "You still haven't told me where you're from."
Oh, well, I mean, I'm from Boston. I spent the last few years as a professor in New York teaching folklore to a variety of students. I was there for a few years.
Professor, you say, of
Yeah.
folklore.
Yeah.
How fortuitous. We have a bit of a folklore enigma on our property.
Okay. In regards to what?
Well, perhaps you would like to see it. There are some old ruins that we found on the estate.
Oh, wonderful. Do you have any idea of how far back they predate?
That's the thing. Whenever we examine them with our magic, we see that they were made just the week before, no matter when we access them.
Huh. I mean, I don't know if that would fall under. I mean, I guess it could fall under folklore and perhaps, but
Oh, it certainly does.
what makes you say that?
She goes over to a bookshelf and pulls down a almanac. She flips through it, and there's some photos like in between the pages, and she starts laying them out. You see, it looks like some sort of archaeology dig. There is a twisted staff. It's got a central pillar, and then it's got these two snakes that crisscross on it. And it's enough to roll a intelligence occult check. There's a man with like an explorer's hat and a big goofy smile holding it above his head.
This is gonna be a big roll. Oh, not as big as I thought, but I still got 3 successes.
It's a staff of Asclepius. It's kind of like a symbol of healing. It's also one of the tools used by a number of Egyptian gods and other pantheons, like Hermes is said to have carried this staff, for example.
Sort of like a distaff for the harbinger of death, perhaps, or
yeah, it's kind of maybe not death is quite right. You think it's actually a symbol of life. It's like a cross, though the crossbeam is actually missing from the staff. And typically it represents an intersection of the mind and body and how you need to make both well to be well.
Huh. All right, interesting. And so beyond that, I'm sure there's more reasoning as to why you think this is an occult issue.
There's another picture.
Yeah.
It's a yawning serpent's mouth. It looks as though it is the height of 3 men tall from the picture that you see, where there's a number of workers who are digging it open. The yawning mouth descends into blackness. It hasn't been built on our land since our family has lived here, and we've lived here since the American Revolution, she says. And since it predates that, I would say that it certainly is ancient. Perhaps timeless.
Oh man. So I know that they must have some sort of wacky spell on this estate. Some powerful spell. Would like especially with the walk I had towards the estate with the I'm totally blanking the repeated loop thing you're talking about.
Give me another intelligence occult roll.
Brutal. Just 1 success.
Yeah, it definitely seemed magical. It seemed similar to the feelings that you felt when you awakened, you think. And when you most recently, just this morning, had that second awakening where you saw that snowflake that was your pattern expand and break apart.
Well then. Well, I gestured to her and was like, wow, this is certainly very interesting. Something predates the Revolutionary War. Wow. But I have this strong inkling that you're not being entirely honest with me about your estate. There's something you are not telling me.
There is so much that I am not telling you. Knowledge is infinite. And look at these halls of knowledge. I couldn't possibly share them all with you. And she takes the book where she had pulled those 3 photos from and she shuts it. As she's shutting it, you see that there is like a ziggurat on the page that she is shutting. There's a large snake hanging over the sky.
Well then. Very well.
But perhaps if you were interested in working on this project or investigating it with me, I might be able to share more of our knowledge with you. This is a hall of the Order of Books.
Well, I mean, I'm certainly agree with you on that knowledge is power. Absolutely. And be more than happy to share my knowledge as well if you were to share yours.
Perhaps I could read your time stream, follow you back into your history so I could better gauge what sort of man you are.
Well, that's not necessary. My the way I see it, my history is my own and something that I learned from.
Which is why I am proposing a trade, of course. Have you ever wished to speak with anyone? Rooms have a memory too, and this room has seen many great figures pass through.
Wow, the cast a spell that strong would certainly suggest that you are very wise in your skill, but also, if regardless of that, it would seem that it perplexes me that doing something like that would generate a level of risk.
Whatever do you mean, she says.
Well, as I'm sure, as you know, I mean, have you never had a spell paradox on you at all?
Spells simply do not work that way for my family. We have been blessed by our ancestors.
See, that's what I mean. How so?
It's a family secret that we can't share with people outside our family, though you have, and I wouldn't normally suggest this to someone who I just met, but you have a way about you.
Well, I'm
Perhaps
flattered. Thank you.
you would be of a quality, a learned man, awakened like yourself, to join our family. I have a niece who is of marrying age.
Wow, I'm absolutely flattered, but this is uh this is not the territory that I know. No. I'm trying not to be rude about it. Like, I'm absolutely flattered, but no. Perhaps I would consider your offer, but this the whole arrangement is absolutely flabbergasted me. No.
But I'm afraid that without being part of the family, there are many things that I cannot tell you. Though
Wow.
I would still request your services for investigating our archaeological find.
Well, let me perhaps sleep on your previous proposal, but sleep on your previous proposal. But yes, that's. I'm very intrigued about this.
You know that the person who would be best in position to like diagnose exactly what's happening with a piece of old magic is probably your reality engineer Mona. She's got
Yeah.
the prime spells to like break something like that down.
Mm-hmm. She certainly would. Man. They don't paradox for her family. That's so weird. So I know something about a crazy sort of dungeon underneath the estate. The staff of Asclepius underneath, or some sort of hint towards that. I don't know. Is there a way for me to get a message? No, I mean, she doesn't want to be here. I guess I could sort of shoot a message that way, but I'll have to portal in some manner towards her.
You could send a message with a space spell.
I could.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
You have my cross.
Oh, I do.
That I
That's
connect,
right.
and that
You
would work
gave
as a
that to me.
tool.
All right. Well, I'll hold off on that right now. Yeah. Very. So, can I perhaps use like a knowledge occult roll to see what kind of family trait or history where someone could perhaps cast a lot of magic and not have a paradox? Is it a genetic trait or is it some sort of secret ritual that the family did years ago?
Yeah, why don't you give me an intelligence occult roll? That would be appropriate. You occult professor, you.
Come on, do well. Brutal. No successes.
Yeah, it is a real mystery to you. You know that you could roll again if you had a library of information.
Which, man, I guess I do. Right here.
You totally do if you could access it all.
Yeah. Not a chance. I mean, I guess I could peruse through some of it, but definitely not all of it. And that would take time. Oh, man. And also, I mean, I am hurt. Same time, do I want to cast a time spell to heal a little bit?
Oh yeah, your leg's pretty hurt. It's true.
Yeah, I have a limp. I'm easily battered. I have little mana left. Not that that would really change things, but
in Mage second edition, you can actually use mana to heal yourself. Not that you have a huge amount of mana, but if you pour 3 points of mana into your pattern, you can heal yourself by 1 lethal.
That'd be my last mana point. I literally have 1 mana right now. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Well, so yeah, actually I'll talk to Blanche and ask her if I'll tell her I'm absolutely intrigued on exploring this query of hers, but I sort of gesture to myself, but like I absolutely need some time to rest before I even have the energy to attack such a endeavor, if it's okay with you.
Of course, and we don't want to overtax you. I was just hoping that perhaps you would tell me where you were before this. I am still curious how you got to our family's land.
Well, that's I mean, I'm more than happy to tell. I mean, the question is, the truth is, to keep a long story short, I really don't know how I ended up here.
Troubling. Did
Yeah.
you have any dreams before you arrived here? And as she says that, you kind of get another flashbacks of that dream of the Mobius strip.
I mean, yeah, I did. And I swear, I mean, I don't pull it out, but I feel that pocket watch in my breast pocket, and I'm like, yeah, it had this. It was a wild dream, but before that, I mean, I was with Mona and a few friends of mine, and yeah, I mean, it was a real landscape that was desolate and not desolate at the same time, with people who were cognizant and intelligent and also rabid and would attack on sight. People who were brainwashed.
She kind of shivers as you says the word rabid.
Yeah. It meant I was in my alternative self, someone who drew mad with power. And last thing I remember over there was I killed him, and then somehow I ended up here.
As you're speaking, she reaches out and touches your hand. Unless you pull back, or do you pull back?
I'm not going to pull back, but I'm not going to be super comfortable with her doing that.
Okay.
I'm gonna I'm just gonna let it happen, but I'm also if she looked at my face, I'm like,
If
okay.
she senses your unhappiness, she doesn't react at all, and she traces some of the lines on your palm. And she says, I've seen you there in my dreams. I've seen more than one of you, too. This other you. What color were his hands?
They were black.
She shivers again. She kind of lets go of your hand. Yes, well, perhaps you should be going, she says.
To the basement?
I can call you a car.
Oh, that would certainly be great if you'd be so kind.
Come with me, she says. And she kind of she walks stiffly towards one of the doors in the room.
Well, I'm sorry to have this cut so short, but I'd be more than happy to perhaps talk more later on perhaps sharing knowledge with one another.
Yes. Perhaps you have something that we could trade. That jacket for a new one. Your jacket, remember, is
It's
missing the sleeves.
Yeah, it's very tattered. Sure. Yeah, why not?
Come, I'm sure the wardrobe has something that will fit you. Outside in the chill woods, Rain and Harad Wolf are walking quickly down this road. And you can see now that the fog is kind of thinning out. And a good distance away, you see that there's a little toll road blockade that is blocking this dirt road from outside cars. Ermengarde, as you're walking down, you feel like this road is somewhat familiar to you. Roll me a wit streetwise. Do you have streetwise?
Not at all.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you just roll wits then?
No. Three.
With 3 successes, which that's got to be pretty good on how many dice did you roll?
3.
Wow. So with all successes, you see this tree, and the tree has a gnarled kind of like half face where some of the bark is like being pulled away, and you remember that tree. You drove down this road on the way to the party.
I tug on the back of Mona's shirt and just go, bad.
I'm going to stop where I am. And I would like to use my prime sight to see if anything odd is around me.
You feel, what specifically are you looking at?
I am looking for anything that's bad around me.
Okay. Prime sight doesn't pick up on ghosts very well, but you can tell that there is. You think that the fog is somehow associated with rain. It's like part of her nimbus. And she has some sort of active spell up, you think. But there's also in the edges around you, there's like a flickering. It's like the light coming off the gears isn't all there. Do you want to scrutinize that flickering?
Yes, I do.
Roll me a prime plus gnosis, maybe -3.
Nothing.
It also costs a point of willpower to activate scrutiny in the future.
Okay.
And you like stare at it and you can't quite figure out what's going on there.
Rain, what's going on with all this mist? Like, are we seeing things that are we being shown like a front?
What do you mean? She says in
Well, you know.
a suspicious way.
I say, well, you know, like you obviously have something up, which no judgment. I got my prime side on. But your Nimbus is the mist, very misty. Great touch. I like the mist, very cool. But then there's like some more stuff going on, and you know, I just want to know like if we're being hidden, if something is being hidden from my view, like what's going on?
I'm not hiding anything from you, but there are a lot of wards here protecting this area. And some of them do make things seem like something that it's not. We're not very close to those places, though. We're almost on the edge of our family's land.
Excellent. We are leaving the family's land that is filled with wards that might make us see things. That explains. That sums it up, I think. I can't hear you. You're muted. I'm gonna like. Are you still like holding on to my shirt? Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a small step forward and see if you're still gonna pull back on me.
Quite hard.
Okay. I'm gonna stay where I am.
A couple things. One, we shouldn't be here. And two, we shouldn't be going that way.
Yeah.
And three, we should be here.
Okay. We are leaving. We are leaving right now. This is the only way out. We are leaving. Let's just cross the line.
Is there another way?
We're so close. I'm gonna ask Rain. Rain, is this the only way off your property?
Well, yeah, it's the only way that's accessible. I mean, you could take the loop down onto the peninsula. She points in the opposite direction that you are walking. But we can't walk that far.
Why not?
Oh, it would take hours. And if there really are ghosts here now. She looks around uncertainly. And
I
you
also
notice
look around uncertainly.
that the broad-shouldered man moves really close to Rain now. He's like standing around her protectively as you have stopped moving.
Okay.
The ghosts have not stopped moving, Ermengarde. You can see they're not getting closer, but they are like getting more. It's like they're growing.
I'm gonna look at Rain and I'm gonna say, Rain, I know you might be nervous and maybe a little scared, but I think it's time for me to go.
Of course. Yeah, why don't you sprint that way and we'll run back to the house.
I'm going to walk, but yes, I'm going to walk with a purpose and I'm going to cross this house line and everything will be okay. Have fun storming the castle.
Ask Rain what her last name is.
Rain? Oh. It's Blanche.
Okay, thank you.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing that lady was her mom, but I'm also not talking to you. Oh, you know how I can do this? I'll say, I'll talk to Rain as she's sprinting away. It was nice to meet you, Rain LaBlanche. Hopefully we'll hang out soon in Boston.
Yeah, she yells through the woods, and her voice kind of like echoes and distorts for a moment. There's a feeling that you get. It's familiar and it's uncomfortable. It reminds you of being back on the ziggurat. And you are. You're back on the ziggurat. You're standing there. You're looking into the pit and you're weaving the spell to dispel the magic here. Parallax, you're back on the ziggurat too. You don't remember anything that's happened at the moment. Mona, you do. And you also can kind of see the future and you can see blood welling up from the inside of the ziggurat.
Okay, does Parallax have a sword?
Parallax does have a knife at this point in the story.
Okay, that's
It's a
not what
blade.
he needs. Okay. Is Ermengarde near me?
No, Ermengarde is nowhere to be seen, but Sanjata is standing right next to you, and Parallax is on your other side. They're both like right within reach.
Okay, I got to use this really wisely. You're saying there's a pit, real Parallax is there, evil Parallax is there?
You look past Parallax and you don't see evil Parallax for a moment, but you do see this black rip in the fabric of existence.
Yeah.
And it looks like a place where the gears have snapped. You didn't them snap, but you can tell it's bad. You can tell that reality is unraveling here. And in that space where reality is unraveling, you see something moving, rising up, rising higher, a figure made of darkness.
Yeah, I'm gonna seal that rift. It's a rote.
Yeah, that's right. You've been taught this spell by your mentor, Chain. Now, it's going to be a difficult spell to do. Are you going to go up and touch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that safe?
Unclear. Are you going to touch it maybe with your wrench? You don't know if it's safe.
No, I'm going to hold up my wrench with my runes on it, speak in Atlantean while drawing runes in the air and
Okay.
looking straight at the rift.
So runes in Atlantean is a +2 yantra bonus. Using your tool because it's dedicated is also a +2 bonus. Yelling at a cat. And then you're going to be essentially overreaching. So you would normally have one free reach. You're using it to turn it into an instant spell. And you're going to be taking a essentially a paradox dice pool if you try to cast this spell, but you'll be casting at +4.
At +4. Okay, I'm gonna do it. My seal rift is a occult 2 level.
Oh, so you would actually also add your occult skill to this.
So it's 5.
It's going to take you a little bit of time to do it, though. This is going to take you 3 rounds since you're using 3 yantras.
Okay.
All right,
How
so
fast is he coming out?
Faster than 3 rounds.
Okay, now I'm gonna do it faster. Then I'll just do it with 4.
That'll take 2 rounds, but yeah, you can do it.
Okay. You see a halo of a giant gear appear behind my head. It starts spinning. Do I roll for it?
Yeah, it's going to be prime plus gnosis plus 4.
5. Oh, +4.
Yeah.
Okay. Prime is 2 successes plus gnosis is another 2 plus 4. Nothing. So 4.
With 4 successes, you start winding that rift to the abyss closed. You can see that it's working. It's just not working fast enough. And the thing is still coming out of it. Parallax, what are you doing on top of the ziggurat?
I see what Mona's doing, and I'm like, yeah, this is bad. And I'm going to use, I guess, an improvised space spell to try to. No, maybe not. Maybe I should no.
Do an
Yeah, I'll use
improvised-
a space. Yeah, I'll use an improvised space spell to sort of not banish, but ban it from trying to come through it. So try to
make a
elongate
magic,
the time.
a circle.
Yeah. So while casting that, I'll use high speech. I'll draw a rune where I'm standing.
Around just you or around you and the others?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna cast it like through this whole, basically enough to hold all of us in a little bit extra room.
So that'll be an extended spell casting, but you have 3 space. It's a space 2 spell. With
Yep.
2 reach, you can make an instant action and affect the 3 of you.
That's what I'm gonna do.
All right, so it's at -2, but then +2 for high speech. So you start quickly sketching a sigil here as Mona is sealing this rift and something is rising out of it. And you're back. You're back in the other reality.
In the woods.
In the woods, alone. The mist has moved away, but the forest is darker than it should be for this time of day.
Am I with Mona right now, or am I back with the estate?
You actually are back at the estate for a moment. And back at the estate, you feel time sliding past you. You're walking through the halls, and the halls change in your memory. They're almost Escher-esque, upside down when you're not looking. And give me a wits plus composure check.
Pretty sure I have high wits. All right.
Thanks to Sidekick on Discord, we have dice.
Yeah, I rolled 2 successes.
With 2 successes, you see a pair of men walking in a distant hallway. One of them has a cape with long blonde hair. Their back is to you. The other has graying hair and is dressed in some sort of military outfit, complete with a cap. You're ushered through the halls and past them. There's a number of busts here of important looking historical figures, you suppose. And you notice that many of them have the last name Léons, Leon. You reach the door to this little roundabout. It's outside the house. And you are escorted to a car which has pulled up here by Blanchefleur. She looks at you. And I got a comment about how to say Léons in French. But it's spelled Leon. It's not spelled Lyon.
It's not French then.
Oh. Are you saying anything to your hostess? Doing anything?
So yeah, I made it out to the courtyard. There's a car here, and Fleur Blanche is standing right there by the car.
She's
Okay.
standing by the car. You get the feeling as though time had just accelerated in some way. It's like you were walking on the Mobius strip, but instead of holding you back, it was like pushing you forward.
Oh wow. Is this okay? Okay. So I ask her. So I hate to be so presumptuous, but is it okay? I mean, or so bold to ask, but is it perhaps okay for me to stay? I have so many questions. I'd be more than willing to help with your basement problem, as it were, and explore. Perhaps even I would love to meet your niece for.
Yes, I think that could be arranged. What are you doing this Sunday?
Whatever you would like me to do.
Well, if you call the number, it's in the suit pocket, and you notice that you're wearing a new suit. You don't know when it happened.
Yeah, we certainly talked about it, and then I was wearing it. All right.
Do you still
Oh,
have your cross? I mean, my cross.
Yes?
I do,
Okay.
right? Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's the case, I'm more than happy to meet you again on Sunday. What day is it now? That's not a weird question, right?
It's Thursday.
Right. It is Thursday of what year?
2019?
Wonderful. And where are we exactly?
This is Gloucester.
Yes, of course. Yes. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to make your acquaintance. I look forward to hearing from you and meeting you again on Sunday.
Yes, you've already told me so much, but I feel like you are an infinite wealth of knowledge as well. And she kind of puts a hand on you for a second, and then, as if she's touched something gross, pulls it away.
Well, I feel the exact same way about you. Perhaps we have much to learn from one another. And I'll start making my way to the car, and I'll get myself inside.
That car leaves and starts driving down a road, possibly the same dirt road that Mona and Ermengarde are now not running, but walking quickly down towards the barricade.
I'm holding her hand. I'm holding her invisible hand.
You get a chill, like something's watching you still.
Just keep
Those
going. Just keep
ghosts,
going.
Ermengarde, are following after you.
Just gotta hit the line, Ermengarde. I
and
mean, I don't say that out loud. I say we just got to hit the line.
The ghosts are following.
Definitely ghosts.
they're following you. You don't think that they went after Rain and that other guy. In fact, they ran almost through the center of where the ghosts were waiting, and the ghosts are still waiting there.
As we are hastily walking towards the line, I'm going to cast a force field shield, a force shield. Would force be best for ghosts, or would I put a prime shield?
Let me check the attainment section. So with mage armors, they come in many different ways. Prime armor doesn't protect you from mundane attacks, but it does protect you from incoming magical attacks, from other awakened spells, and other supernatural effects that deal direct damage.
That's I think.
It would defend against a bolt of energy, but not a werewolf's claws. So I would say that it doesn't really protect you against ghosts unless those ghosts are using like witch lightning. If the ghosts have Emperor Palpatine, they can hurt you with their minds, like wizard ghosts, for example. Prime armor could protect you against that. Force field could protect you against anything that the ghosts make fall on you. Like if they knock down a tree, a force field would protect you from that. But neither of them can block the pure ghostly essence of a specter.
Well, I'll put a prime shield up anyway around the both of us.
Okay. Your skull, Ermengarde, Byron, you hear his voice and he says, "You can draw a ward to hold them back."
Ow.
How what?
See the shape inside your mind and then create it.
With what?
With the ashes.
Ew.
What are you calling ew?
And I will do that.
You're going to open up the urn that you're carrying?
Yeah, I mean, if Byron said to do it, this is my only key so far to what I think is like logical decision making, is following what the skull I picked up said. So the skull says draw a ward with the ashes. I reluctantly and awkwardly, I'm sure, draw a ward with the ashes.
I'm going to feel you let go of my hand and say, "Hey, what are you doing? We got to go."
Hold on. Just hold on.
We're so close. What do you have to do? Like, I don't know what you have to do, but do it fast.
What are you drawing with the ashes?
So I'm going to turn the opposite direction of Mona. I'm going to hurt Mona with it and draw them into the air.
Okay, just kind of like throwing it out like this. Pentagram style?
Yeah, so I picture that I like initially just sort of like dip my hand in the ashes, so probably pretty sweaty. So they all get stuck on, and then kind of, draw like a pentagram in the air with like ashes all over my hand.
Yeah. In Mona's prime sight, you can see this bloom of like darkness and shadows form the pentagram as Ermengarde traces it out, the ashes hanging in the air. Roll Gnosis plus Death +2 for using the ashes.
Oh, God.
Because this is going to be a potent death ward around both you and Mona, you're actually going to be overreaching by 1, which means that you'll roll 2 dice for Paradox as well. So first roll Gnosis plus Death +2.
And as you're rolling, Mona sees the ash in the sky, in the air, and I'm gonna yell, "Spellcasting is dangerous!"
So 1 success.
Ooh.
And then a 9 and a 1 on those 2 for the paradox.
Okay. Normally you would choose whether you're going to absorb the paradox or release it, but you don't really know any better. And what you do is, as you are casting this ward over yourself, the ward ripples around you, and you can see it like floating there in the air in the ashes for a moment. And all of the ghosts shift towards you. They start moving rapidly towards you, and you can see that they have all this blood running down the front of them. Their features are mostly ill-defined, but whatever you did with that spell has somehow made them start running towards you. You do feel its protection, or you hope that you have some sort of protection.
I don't feel much better, Byron.
Run! I'm gonna like bolt to like towards that line with Ermengarde in my hand in tow.
You are running, and as you are running, you can feel the spirits around you. Ermengarde, they rush up and they try to like grab at you as Boone is pulling you behind. But as they reach the shield, their hands stop. You push through a barrier and you find yourself on an adjoining road as you run past that barricade, where we encounter another player character. Caity, you are here playing Hannah, and as they emerge onto the street, they also appear to your vision. Where there had been no one before, suddenly, I'm going to say that the invisibility spell also flickers out as you are running through this barrier, Ermengarde. The two of you appear to Hannah. And Mona, Ermengarde, would you describe your characters for Caity?
Yes, Mona is like a young 25-year-old. She's got short, dark hair. She's wearing a t-shirt with a band. It's They Might Be Giants today. Jeans, probably like steel-toed boots. She's kind of skinny, and she's also got like a special belt that has a steel wrench hanging off of it.
And Ermengarde is about 19. She's tall, pale, long dark hair that was in a fancy updo, but is sort of now mostly fallen out. She's wearing a ball gown that's ripped to shreds and has also been sort of tied up around her waist to be kind of like pocketed at her waist. And she is carrying a large urn with her. Like you do.
Like you do.
To your spirit sight, Hannah, it looks as though they have just pushed through the scaly skin of a snake. Like when it drops its skin behind it, when it sheds its skin, you see that shed skin. It's like they ripped through a barrier of that. And behind them, you see hundreds of angry spirits. They're spirits that you can see are associated with blood. They're spirits that you can see are associated with anger, and for some reason they are all pouring towards these two individuals.
We're also running. What do you look like, though?
Oh yeah. So Hannah is also like mid-20s. They have very messily cut shortish hair that was dyed green not too long ago, but it's starting to fade a little. They are possibly wearing multiple pairs of pants. They're definitely wearing like 3 or 4, maybe 5 layers of t-shirts and shirts. Big boots, probably some rips in the outer layer of pants, maybe some dirt or twigs in their hair. They might have been just recently climbing some trees.
Okay. As soon as I see you.
You don't. She sees you before.
Okay.
Sorry, they see you before you see them.
Okay.
Am I still in a tree?
You are still in a tree.
Perfect.
Okay. We're running.
I kind of scream out at them. Oh no, keep running. I am terrified of the things behind you.
Yeah, we are too. I'll call out to whoever said that. Thanks. Let's go. Oh, Ermengarde, you have to come up with a mage name because, like, you can't tell your real name to anybody. Don't worry. I'll try. I'll keep it a secret. But you gotta
Yeah,
come up with a different
you're in
name.
combat. You're in combat right now. So, Mona, you start explaining things to Ermengarde as you are running, and you're running as fast as you can. Ermengarde, what are you doing?
I am also running with Mona and trying to keep up the same conversation. When you say my real name, do you mean that I can't tell them my whole name, like including my middle name? Or do you mean that I can't be Ermengarde anymore? Or do you mean I can't use any of my nicknames?
Oh, God, the whole thing. The whole thing.
There's like a spear of shadow ghost energy that ripples past and like is just barely deflected by that ward that you threw up. You can like see as these figures are like rushing towards you still.
Oh, can I close the rift? It's not a rift, but it's like a wall. No?
There
I don't
was
see it, do I?
you don't see it, no.
Okay.
But actually, as you turn back, the path that you had come down has vanished. There's like a shimmering energy there. And you can tell that there is something there, a awakened spell of some kind. You don't really have time to examine it, but you could use your action to do just that.
Well, can I see if is the shimmering thing like broken?
It doesn't seem. Give me a prime plus gnosis check.
Okay. Gnosis?
Can I also check to see if I know either of the people? Like,
You
do
know
they-
Mona, but you don't know Ermengarde. Say again?
Three.
With 3 successes, you evaluate it as some sort of spirit and mind spell. There's also an element of time to it. And the whole thing seems to be a location-based spell of some sort. It doesn't seem to stop the ghosts.
Hmm. Can I throw an attack at the wave of ghosts? Howl from beyond. That affects spirits.
Definitely. What level spirit spell is that?
That's a level 3 spirit spell.
Okay. So how much do you want to overreach when casting this spell? You could attack one ghost, or you could attack all of the ghosts, but that would be substantially more dangerous to your soul.
Maybe just a bunch of the closest ones, the ones in front.
So you're going to roll 2 paradox dice as you overreach by 1. Are you using any tools to do this?
I check the many, many pockets of my various pants and coats. I guess I do have my survival knife with me.
You do, but you also have a number of other objects that you can just make up that you have scrounging for a while.
I probably have a lighter, which like to me is like light against darkness. It's warms the spirit. So that's, I could like fire breathe through the lighter.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a howl from beyond.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I probably also have a what's it called? Like a flask of spirits. And I could use that to fire breathe through this lighter, the howl from beyond. So that's 2.
Okay. Are you gonna leap out of the tree?
Yes, I'm going to leap out of the tree,
All right, so
land,
before you
and then fire breathe at this space that I guess only I can see.
What an entrance.
Yeah. So as you leap down, give me a Dex plus athletics check.
So dexterity 2, athletics 2. Oh, that's 3 successes.
Wow, you land like a cat, ready, pulling out the spirits, and you're gonna fire breathe at them. Because you are using a tool, you actually reduce your paradox dice pool. Would you like to absorb the paradox or release it if it happens?
I'll absorb it.
Okay.
I'm usually pretty good at healing,
So first, you're going to roll Gnosis plus Spirit plus 2 for the tools that you are using.
All right, so that's 3 noses plus spirit plus 2 is 8. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Wow. And a single dice for Paradox? Die for Paradox.
2.
Paradox doesn't happen, and you blow a burst of power. It doesn't like destroy the spirits, but it does injure them, and they pull back. Ermengarde, you can hear them kind of shriek. To you, Hannah, it sounds as if there's like a low rumble through them, and they all like pull back from the flames, but they're still in the area.
I'm totally going to use my forces and take that fire and increase it and push it at the like spirits that I can't see, but like in the direction of all the howling.
Yeah, roll forces plus Gnosis. Now you have forces 3. This isn't really going to be that bad for you because you can already influence fire. You're trying to make it hotter, or you're trying to make it spread, or both?
I want to make it spread.
Okay. So you're just like carrying it around. Are you going to make it spread in a particular pattern, or?
I want to like make a semicircle.
Like a burning hands almost.
Yeah. Like to enclose them, I guess.
All right. Why don't you roll that spell?
I got 2 successes.
Yeah, you fire cage around yourselves. The car that you are driving in, Parallax, slows down a little bit. You see the driver like lean his head in the distance through a faint mist. You can see a bubble of fire burning for a moment in the darkness. The spirits continue to scream and howl, and then they start to pull back, and there's a feeling that you each get that something is happening. In Hannah's vision of the world, you can see a greater spirit awakening in the sky. It's kind of shifting and twisting as the ghosts howl. Ermengarde, to you, the sky looks like it's become darker, almost black.
What just happened?
I told you spellcasting is dangerous.
Great teamwork, Mona. I'd go to high five you.
Oh, I high five you back. I have no clue who you are, though. But yeah, great teamwork. What's your name?
I'm Hannah.
Are you know me from my podcast? Or no, not my podcast.
Your blog.
Yeah, you know me from my blog?
Just then, a black Cadillac ripples into space from the adjoining road that you cannot see.
I bent over and look in the window.
Parallax, are you getting out of the car, rolling down the window?
What's okay?
Hey, dude.
Just instructing the driver to drive on past.
Tempted. I am tempted. I don't get out of the vehicle, but I roll down the window and I'm just like, "What's up? A long time no see." So, what have you guys been up to?
We're fighting ghosts and whatever that is in the sky.
I think going to call the session there, and we will resume next time with all of you fighting whatever is there, maybe, or figuring out whatever is there through your mage perception.
Oh man, Hannah, that was the coolest entrance.
Hey.
Just like blew fire, then high-fived me, and was like, great, good job. Jumped out of a tree.
Excellent work. Everyone gains 1 beat for playing, for sure. Has anyone made any progress towards any of their obsessions or towards any of their, it's not interests,
Aspirations?
aspirations?
One of mine is to find a new cabal, and I just encountered some people who aren't enemies.
That's a beat towards that. I would say that it's not resolved yet, but you do gain experience.
Same here. Mine is to find a cabal, and I've got 2 new people that I really like. I'm gonna.
You're not including Parallax, are you?
No. I have to kill him probably.
Whoa, hey.
I mean, I don't have to kill you. I have to stop your evil alternate, and like, you made this mess.
Why?
You
I was
are
the
a
one that was
messy person.
told to come here. I had nothing to do with this.
You have everything to do with
I
this.
would have been happy in my own little, wonderland. I was a hot shot in, my professor times, New York, and now you guys brought me here and I'm fighting weirdos and dealing with time discrepancies and stuff. It's bad.
Very.
What's the difference between a regular beat and an arcane beat?
Ooh, arcane beats come from your obsession, and they also come from experiencing magical mysteries, which can also be whenever you paradox. And actually, Ermengarde, you gain another arcane beat because you paradox with that spell, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, casting magic poorly.
And normally that would also be a wisdom affront, but you actually didn't know about it. So I'm going to say it's not a wisdom affront to you. And no one risks wisdom degradation. Nice job. You're not murdering people.
Nice.
Still not vampires.
Yet.
And
Oh, man,
do I
there's
get a arcane experience for trying to find out how things work?
No, it's going to be when you find out how things work.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that Blanche would admit that her estate was a demence. I was really hoping she would do that.
Oh, well.
She will. She
Gosh,
might.
maybe you shouldn't have told her about your black nightmare hands.
Yeah. She was like, oh,
I was just
bye.
being honest. I'm hoping that my honesty would, encourage her to be honest with me.
Well,
But,
now you've got a date on Sunday to get
That's
acquainted
true.
with your potential wife.
Yeah, that's gonna be weird. So many things.
Are you gonna marry
What Hannah
Rain?
just walked into. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you back next time.